Cry for the Moon is Epica's third track in their debut album The Phantom Agony, and also the fourth part of the Embrace This Mother series created by Mark Jensen. This is one of their most famous songs, and it has a somewhat unique structure, as I wouldn't consider it having a chorus for example. It evokes gothic, heavy, and epic feelings through well-made cadences and modulations choices. So let's take a more microscopic point of view of Cry for the Moon. It starts with the orchestra strings playing on a deep bass accompanied by some drum rolls, creating a very gothic intro to the song. After some bars, the melody takes form using two descendant sequences, one ending on the second and the other on the fifth, building a lot of momentum. The background symphony begins to alter between D, B flat and C until it finally leads to the verses through a 3, 2 and 1 cadence. The intro do its job setting the piece atmosphere, bringing a gothic environment that certainly matches Epica's early days. Speaking of the verses, the bass sets a simple 1 to minor 7 to 4 to 5 harmony behind the vocal line through this bit. The melody tends to rest on the second E until it gets to the famous forever and ever phrase that's actually kind of a reflection of one of that intro sequences I talked about, but inverted to an ascendant pattern this time around. This structure is followed by a slower one that alternates between a fifth and a fourth chord, bringing a dynamic break to the song. All of a sudden though, we have this abrupt Aces-4 accompanied by a killer descendant D minor scale riff that blasts the listener mind. The whole band changes the pace direction with a hot banger rhythm, in which the harmony is alternated between a D5 and a B flat 5, until it raises to an A5 that brutally resolves to an Aces-4. This movement is so heavy, and here's why. It modulates from D minor to A lockerant, a scale that carries two extremely dissonant intervals, the minor second and the diminished fifth. It's very interesting indeed, as Epica does that through an A5 chord that doesn't belong to the new key, even though it has the same root. Brilliant! After some time, the keyboards develop a riff in A minor that adds a spicy layer on top of all that heaviness, kind of contradicting the anger promoted by the guitars. Ending the section, we have a 7, 6, 5 harmony movement that shows a modulation to D minor again, featuring an E6, releasing a lot of tension through the following Aces-4 chord. Then the song comes back to a dark theme, with a little transition beat to the verses again. And the interesting thing here is that if we take a zoom out in the piece, we came from a section ending on an E6 that resolved to an A bass transition that resolved to the D bass verses. So we kind of had the use of a secondary dominant with this E6 chord, which is very cool. After repeating some parts, there is a sequential modulation that raises the piece 3.5 steps till it finally ends on E5. Cry for the Moon perfectly captures Epica's vibe when they were young, with dark and heavy harmonies. It has very interesting dynamics, and it's no wonder that it is one of their most famous songs. Nevertheless, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Take care and stay metal forever and ever.